before we get started with the aluminum, a couple of things from yesterday. When I talked about patinaing copper, I forgot to mention that you could also use this pewter black. It's really designed for pewter. When you use it on copper, you'll get an effect like this. You might not like it, but I kind of like it. Also, when we talked about using the ferric chloride to etch away, and I told you that I forgot and went to bed and how it continued to etch, this is what I was going for. This is after it's been in about 30 to 40 minutes, and from time to time you would check it and see if you begin to feel an edge. When you trace this letter with a black marker and suspend it in the ferric chloride, it will eat away everything except the black marker, and it will eat it down, and you'll keep checking it so that you'll know when you're ready to stop, but how deep you want it to eat down without destroying it. When you dip your copper into the liver of sulfur, when it comes out, run it under water to stop it from continuing to patina, and then right after that you take your steel wool and remove as much or as little of it as you like, and that steel wool will cause you to get a nice sheen. Sometimes you won't even have to enamel it because it looks great. You go over it with a soft cloth. I like to use denim. It really is good for that kind of thing. One more thing, we didn't talk about torching copper, and when we start making projects with copper, I will do some torching and let you see the natural colors you can get by adding fire. People tease me after I burn my hand. They say, "You still playing with fire?" I tell them I got a whole nother hand to burn up, but that's not how I burn my hand torching copper. I had a kitchen fire. Okay, we're gonna move on to aluminum. Now, I kept this out because we talked about how I like to use my embosser. You really don't need an embosser. You could just, like I did with the nickel, you could just place a real nickel underneath and just rub, and you'd get an impression. But you can use your copper. You can take this copper metal paint I told you about and treat this aluminum, and it will have a similar effect as real copper. I love to use this, and I'm going to put together an essay kit of a bunch of little doodads and whatnot that I've already created and sell them to you. Okay. Sometimes, well, first let me just show you. You can cover your aluminum after you treat it with alcohol inks, but if you don't want to, you can buy aluminum that's already colored. It could be brass, red, blue, and you can do that. This I ran through the, I don't have a cutter bar anymore. I ran it through a Sizzix embossing folder using an embossing plate. Now you can take this and you can cut out shapes and use it on your bracelet. You can cut out ovals or circles or whatever, and embellish your bracelet with this colored aluminum. That same lettering that was on that etch deal, I use a lot. Where did I put it? Anyway, before I came on air, I started, and I traced it. Like I told you, when you trace it, you trace it with the right side down, with the wrong side up, right side down, and then you turn it over, working on a hard circle. You turn it over to the right side, and then you will begin chasing. Remember we talked about chasing and repousse, and you would continue to trace until, and then you'd go back to the other side, and let me get another tool. And by the way, I told you you don't have to have any fancy tools. You can use a pencil. You can use this little deal right here. But I'm going to use this one today because I want some depth. And if you press down on that cushion when you turn it over, you'll see it'll start popping out. It's probably a reflection of this aluminum. And so you continue to work it on a hard surface. And then you can go back, and this aluminum really, really stretches. Now, when you're working with the recycled aluminum, it's very, very tough. And you really have to work hard to but it will. But you really gotta push. And when you turn it over, you'll see beginning to form and you start chasing. This Adhesive Spray, I spray it with work on a soft aluminum. I spray it with a temporary adhesive spray, and just so it keeps still and won't be moving all around on you, and that makes it easy. And then you would come in. It really don't take that long either. And you trace from the back. I want to do this one because I want to color it and show you how you can color it with alcohol inks or markers. Markers are alcohol based, so you definitely can and you spend a little more time than I am, but even when you spend a little time, you can do this in less than 10 minutes. See what I missed. But you can trace anything. Yes, I can fake it. You'll see what you missed. You go back and get it, or you could just kind of imagine where it would be and fill it in. And I'd go back maybe 2 or 3 times. I'd remove this, and then I could really get in there and puff it out. Turn it back over and start refining it. I didn't trace that one very well. Like I said, you'll spend more time. You can, you can either, sometimes you can buy cutouts. I cut this one out by hand. This was just a piece of leather glued to, no, it wasn't glued to anything because it was very thick. I think I didn't glue it to anything. I just cut it out. And yeah, and you continue to until you got it puffed out enough. I'm going to stop right here because I want to paint this right quick, and then come back and show you some other things. I'm using gesso. I always use white paint or gesso. Most of the time I use gesso because it's just it's cheaper. I have to take the top off. This is a full bottle. Yeah, I'll take the top off. Where's my makeup sponge? Who knows? I thought I was ready. I got something else, so I could use one of my little felt pieces. This hair dry, this heat tube, I'm not going to even ask you to forgive me for it being so grungy, because I use it all the time and I don't have time to worry about how it looks. It's very quiet. I have a very clean one, but it's noisy as heck. And then you would come out back with a alcohol ink, maybe 1 or 2 colors. Really and truly on this, wait a minute, I don't know what I was thinking. I could use a metal. Use gold metal paint. I guess it wasn't dry. And you take your time and don't be messy like me. But you can really make a nice pair of earrings that would look awesome. And it just started with and it would have dimension. You could cut it out if you wanted to, or you could cut it in a square or circle and then place it on any background, a background like this or a leather background. And probably a leather background is what I would place it on. I'm not half as prepared as I should be. I really shouldn't even made a video today because I've been kind of under the weather. It wasn't one of my better days. Sometimes I don't feel like that. I know that it's just aging. You just don't have much energy like you used to. I haven't been sleeping well. Really, I've never needed a lot of sleep. I hate to go to bed. I know that sounds pathetic, but it's true. I'm up all night sometimes. It's so great to live alone. Nobody to bug and keep up. And I try to work quietly because I live in an apartment. No more houses for me. Let somebody else worry about cutting the grass. I love apartment living, and you can't afford not to live in an apartment in Eureka, Kansas. I live in a big old apartment. I pay $300 a month rent. When I went to California, I came running back here. I couldn't afford to live in California. I couldn't find a shack for under $700. I said, oh, I gotta go back to Kansas. Can't stay here. When I got back here, my landlord had rented my house. I was living in a big old 2-story house. I was paying $300 rent for. Had been living there 9 years. And when I got back, she rented it to a family, and I felt better because I didn't need that big old house. I had accumulated so much stuff. The bigger house you have, the more stuff you accumulate. I wanted to show you what would happen if you took something like this. Oh, by the way, this little paper stump, when you have something you goofed on and you want to start all over. So this is some lettering. I didn't have much aluminum, so I kind of pressed it out. You never get it pressed out completely, but you will get it flat, and then you can paint it, and nobody will know. I like stuff in the background. It's weird and different. Let's say, for instance, you took this teapot. The same thing. I like to spray it so it keeps still. Don't move on. It doesn't matter here which side is the right side in aluminum, unless you have some specific something like here. there's a background in front, but not on this. I'll show you how to freeform on this in a minute. This is my tool of choice for outlining, but really anything will work. You can use one of those old lead pencils, anything with a kind of small point. You don't have to buy all those fancy tools, but I love doing something like this, apple. Because you can puff it out, and I puff it out to the maximum, and you could really do all kind of textures in the background because it's a teapot, and you could make it look you know, you could have something like this in the background. That would be awesome. But this is very simple because it's just the outline. Very simple to trace. I think I got it all. Yeah. Okay. First I'm going to turn it over and on a flat surface. I'm going to go around it. I'm working much faster than I should. Take your time, there's no hurry. But I have to work fast because I'm always conscious of the time. Because I devoted some of this video to copper, I've used up at least 10 minutes of my time before I even got to the aluminum. Then, when you turn it over and put your form back down, you can really have some fun puffing this out and give it dimension. Where's my paper slim? You can cover a lot of. So here it is. You can cover a lot of ground with this thing. And you've seen these. They're called paper stuff. It's made out of paper, just layers of paper. I bet you if you sit down and rolled some paper around a wooden dowel, just layers of it, you can make your own. But they're so inexpensive, about $1 or $2. They're all over the place. And I tell you what else works great, a fat eraser. You know, one of those pencils that have a big old eraser? Check this out. You can puff that bad boy out. Then you could go in and freeform. Add some detail. Or you could put something underneath it and trace a cool print. But you could really have some fun. And we'll make an entire project. One day I'll devote an entire video to making a project from start to finish. I just want to get you with the basics. Then you come back and in those places in between, that's my ball. Oh, here it is. You go in there and puff them out. Turn them around and do some more defining, but can you see how you can just have a great time with that? And that's the teapot. And I have a teacup that I do, and then I make a little shadow box. I'll have a teapot and maybe 4 cups, and they're all different colors. So that's something we'll look forward to doing. Now I want to show you some projects I've made This is, I did this on my silhouette. You know, I'm a rule breaker and I take chances. So I have the small cameo, the silhouette portrait that I devote strictly to metal. I rigged it up so that, and I put a silicone pad and I place, it doesn't matter what metal, I flipped the design and I let the machine do all the work for me. And this was a graphic that I brought into Silhouette software, and it was little letters talking about miles. You know, he could blow the horn or whatever. And it really formed words. You look closely. I don't know if you can see it. But after it came out of the Silhouette, the Silhouette will just do so much, I still defined it by hand. I went in with my paper stump and I puffed him out. And then I turned him over on a flat surface and then I defined him. And after I was finished with him, I took a cardboard, and we're going to do this. We're going to make our own frames. I'll show you. You see, this is plain cardboard. I'm going to teach you how to make some homemade texture paste out of talcum powder, gesso, and Mod Podge. Because if you went out and bought some texture paste, you could spend up to $10, but it's going to cost you less than $5. So you get the talcum powder at dollar store, the glue, Mod Podge. You don't have to just use Mod Podge, any white glue. And you can use white paint, but I never use paint if I could use gesso. And you're going to make your own texture paste, and I texturize this. And you're going to learn how to do that. And you'll make some awesome frames, especially with vinyl. If you have some ugly vinyl around, you're going to go in and, for instance, one day you're going to take this is some old ugly vinyl. I left it inside so you would know. You see how ugly it is? I'm going to cover it inside. And then I'm going to show you how to make your own little, what do you call those, Midoris, or whatever you call those little journals. And I use plain old printer paper, and you can put as many layers as you want. Really, you can put, I think I got 4 pieces of elastic here, and I'll show you how to run your elastic through. You're going to texturize the outside, decorate it with copper or fur or whatever, and then some beading, and it goes like this. How cool is that? When you're off somewhere and want to be creative, you take your little book along. But this is a great gift to give to people. We're going to make that, and you're going to make one. We're going to use vinyl. Save up your old ugly vinyl. We're going to transform it. What else did I make? We saw miles. Now, I did this on the Silhouette portrait. And then I tried to make it look kind of antique-y by using alcohol ink. I forgot the color. But you could use anything. You could use any of the metal paints. I showed you when I used the flashing tape how I patinaed it, and we're working on flashing tape tomorrow. Okay? This stuff right here. This is our next class, and I'm going to show you how to transform it. I was looking for that deal I showed you guys. Here it is. This is flashing tape, and I patinate. Is it upside down? No. I use the flashing tape, I use the metal, and I use the brass or gold metal paint, and then I sprayed it with this Verde patina, and it patinaed. And then the clay pieces, you're going to learn how to make these clay pieces, you're going to learn how to make your own molds. These all can come in lessons, but this one is tomorrow. We're going to make a man cave. Alright, what else did I make out of aluminum? This is my fat lady. I listened to a show called No Agenda, and they start the song with that Valkyrie. Is that how you pronounce it? So, I love it too. And so, people who are members of the No Agenda Club, they would buy these from me. Same fat lady, and the guy, one of the hosts, always says when he gets to the part but it sounds like she's saying Cinco de Mayo. He'll say Cinco de Mayo, and he always said nail that. So everybody knows what that means. Now, a big brick you could buy was called rubbing plates, and they're very inexpensive. This was a rubbing plate I used of a train. I think I paid $3 for it. And I laid my aluminum down, and I took my stump, and I rubbed it all over that metal, that rubbing plate, until it picked up that entire train. I call this Urban Jungle, and I used a stencil to kind of stencil some buildings in the background. I think I used bronze and gold together, metal paint. Sprayed it with the patina, and this patina, and then I just put, I don't think nothing is on the back yet. Because I had this paper that I made, and I'm going to show you how to take cardboard and discolor it and stuff. And I'm looking for the other part, because I got enough of this to go on the back. I just got to find it. And before I put it on the back, I always tape this down, and that'll be the little hanging. But this is plain old aluminum. And this stuff is cheap. I buy a whole roll of it for $15. But I'm going to put together a kit of different metals. You're going to get a little copper. You're going to get at least this size of each. So you don't have to go buy your own, because the copper is $29 a roll. So I'll give you a little sample so you can see if you want to invest. This was another rubbing plate. It's a Statue of Liberty they have over there. It's like, I think this thing is under $1. You know, Dick Blick catered to kids in the classroom, so everything is so cheap. And I rubbed that Statue of Liberty, and I put her, see, this is one of those metal, one of those aluminum that's colored already. This was already colored. This aluminum on one side, and it's a color. Well, both of them is aluminum, but one of them is colored, one side. And this regular side, I think I don't know what I did to it. If I remember, I tell you. I painted it, and then I know. I have another metal paste called iron. I used the iron metal paste on that. And this is just some pieces of thin wood. It might even be, what do you call that wood they make those there? Balsa. It might be balsa. I'm sure it is. I think I bought a pack of scrap balsa somewhere. And you know, you just layer it. Make your own frame. You know, I cater to people who love that Game of Thrones. And I freeformed this doodle on metal, and then I mounted it on cardboard. And all I have to do is add the back, and I sell these as magnets. Sometimes I use a rubbing plate, but most of the time these are freeform. I like Game of Thrones. I watch it. But there's some people who just lose their mind over it. So of course I have to sell stuff to them. That's how I roll. That's what I do. And you're going to do it too, and you're going to make some money. Sometimes I'll take something I've embossed on copper and use it as a rubbing plate and just rub it onto aluminum. This was for kind of animal print. And then put it on earrings. Alright, I'm going to cut this one off, and you learned something else, I hope. And I hope that you subscribe. I'm going to start giving away stuff, so you're going to want to subscribe. Because if you subscribe here and at Facebook, and start you a folder at Facebook as you start making projects, and put them in there, that's going to increase your chances of winning stuff. So before I go, this is what I did for Christmas. And it's the same deal as I mounted it on cardboard after I did my thing, Merry Christmas Slave, because the members of No Agenda, they always saying shut up slave, suggesting that the government just treat us like a bunch of slaves. And these is what they gave to each other for Christmas. I have some wonderful supporters, and I appreciate them. Alright, have a great one. Talk to you later. Bye.